welcome to another episode of the Football Fignuts podcast. This is season 4, episode 19. If you counted all of them, that's 169 episodes. And I'm back, and I'm Craig.
I'm Britt, and we're glad to have Craig back, that's for sure.
Thank you.
We're into week 10, Craig. Let's just jump right in. What are you drinking tonight?
Tonight, I am drinking a beer given to me by you.
Oh?
This is Merry Christmas, Happy New Year by Anchor.
Oh,
Brewing,
this is
2020.
A fabulous beer. This is my wife's favorite beer. Every year I am tasked with finding it somewhere.
This is her holiday ale.
This is her holiday ale. Yes, and we found it very easily this year, and I said to her, so here's what she does. She buys a six-pack. She drinks one, and this is her favorite beer, mind you. She drinks one. She puts 5 into the fridge. I will drink 3 of the other beers. So that leaves 2. She'll have one on Christmas Eve. Then she will take the last one and put it in the very bottom of our beer drawer. And the next year, we'll pull it out and go, this ages really well, and open a year-old bottle of this beer. And yet, it does age damn well.
It's the malt. It's got to be.
It is. But I mean, I'm like, this is your professed favorite beer on earth, and you drink 2 of them during the season it's out. I bought a case of holiday ale. A case.
Exactly.
I'm like, wait a minute. If this is your favorite beer, she goes, I just like it all the time. But you don't get it all the time. It's
only get it 1 month out of the year.
It's
really
available from Halloween until Christmas, and that's if the supply train doesn't dry up. So anyway, all right. So go ahead and open this
year.
And give it a try.
This year it doesn't feel as spiced. It's more malt.
Which one, holiday or the Happy New Year?
The Happy New Year.
See, I haven't tried the Merry Christmas, Happy New Year yet. She still hasn't opened hers. Sorry, I'm dealing with a little bit of a cold. So, and I just forgot I have a mute button. I don't need to cough into the mic. All right, I got to remember to do that. But yeah, we haven't opened it yet. So, yeah. So it's. Have you tried the holiday ale yet this year from Two Roads?
I did. It's good. It's also different.
Is it lighter in your estimation as well?
Yes, it's lighter. Almost the same kind of thing as this. It's lighter. It's not as spiced. Actually, it's not as malty as I remember.
Yeah, this one. That's what Christy said too. It's not as spicy. It's not as malty. Because I'm feeling a little under the weather, and I want to make our listeners very comfortable. I do not have any traditional COVID symptoms. I do not have a fever. I am breathing fine. This is the time of year where I usually get some sort of cold. I'm just congested and tired. But yes, and Christy is watching me like a hawk.
Oh yeah, testing is way up because everyone who has a cold now thinks it's coronavirus. So everyone's getting which I mean, getting tested isn't a bad thing anyway. But you know,
right. So I'm not drinking tonight. But yeah, so Craig will do the drinking for both of us. And it'll be fabulous, I'm sure. So, all right, let's move on. Breaking hot takes. Hot takes. Jeez, I'm not even on medicine or drinking. We've only done 160 plus episodes of this podcast. You would think I would know the damn name of my own segment by now. I even forgot to put in the sound effect there. I hope Craig puts it in later. Anyway, I'm not even drinking and I'm off the rails. Burning hot takes. Craig, you were off last week. You get the choice. Do you wish to give or receive?
I will give.
All right, what do you got for me?
So my first question is, news out of Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Is that the coaching staff is not worried about Mike Evans' lack of targets. Now, here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Should they be?
No.
Because it's Mike Evans.
Mike Evans should be worried about his lack of targets. And Mike Evans, for the first time in Mike Evans' career, they have a quarterback there who is comfortable with saying to him, if you want more targets, you need to get open more often. No one has ever been able to say that to him before. Jameis couldn't say it. Fitzmagic couldn't say it. Who else has been there? God damn, I feel like it's a revolving door in Tampa.
Mumbly Joe. Somebody was there.
Somebody else was there. Random guy. For the first time, he has that. And I have questioned Mike Evans' work ethic and desire multiple times in the last couple of years. For the first time ever, he's got a quarterback. They'll sit there, and if he dares complain about his target share, the response will be, if you want more targets, get more open. So the coaches shouldn't be worried. Mike Evans should be worried. Mike Evans should be sitting there saying, what do I need to do differently? Because this guy throwing me a ball is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I'm probably going to have to pay for a ticket to the dinner. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm wondering how much how much AB is going to affect like Mike Evans, share of passes, especially since Brady's the one that got AB to Tampa.
And I think that's part of the wake-up call that Mike Evans needs to see, is you have Chris Godwin and you have Rob Gronkowski, whose target share is growing, by the way, as Evans is shrinking. Because don't forget, Evans started off pretty good to the first couple weeks of the year. I think 3 of the first 4 or 2 of the first 3, he had really high target days. But since then, it's been going downhill. He's got to ask himself what changed. And what changed is Brady realizes you don't play as hard as he expects you to. But look who's standing there at the end of the line is Rob Gronkowski, and he does play hard. So he's going to get more targets even though he's 1,000 years old and viable to break in half at any given moment, because that's what Brady looks for. Julian Edelman wasn't Brady's favorite target because he had the best pair of hands on the field. He got open. He timed his breaks. Brady knew if he was going to cut at a certain time, he could rely on him being where he put the ball. That's what matters to Tom Brady, because that's what gets Tom Brady's stats. That's what gets Tom Brady's wins. That's what's gotten Tom Brady's Super Bowl rings. At the end of the day, Tom Brady is about Tom Brady. He is the Jerry Jones in a uniform. So he doesn't get. If Mike Evans has a problem, he'll hand him a towel and go, cry into this and let me know when you're ready to improve. That's it. That's my take on it.
No, I can definitely see that, because Brady, for as much as we mock him at times, he's never had issues going up to guys and just screaming at them if he doesn't think they're, playing at 100%.
Before they really realize that not having fans in the stands allows you to hear everything players say, I heard a lot of what Tom Brady said in the first or second game of the year on the field, and it wasn't polite.
That was rated R.
Yes. We're an explicit podcast, and I still won't repeat what I heard. Oh, all right. All right, question for you.
Yeah.
We're a little more than halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
I've reached the point where in fantasy, particularly in daily, there are a couple people I am just done with. I don't want to use them. I don't want to hear their name. Most famously in 2019, that man's name was Mike Williams. Every time the metric would be like, you should use Mike Williams in the lineup. Like, no, not going to do it. 1 target, no catches, no yards. Every time. And then the week after, he'd have 8 for 14, 8 catches on 14 targets for 110 yards. Nope, not going to do it. Who is on your list this year of the nope, I don't care if he's $1, I'm not using him in DFS?
For me this year, because I have him in season long, for me, I'm at that point with Will Fuller.
Oh God, yeah. And
I am over Will Fuller. He is the number 1 receiver on his team, yes. And I'm just over it.
And he's priced that way. Yes. Where is his numbers this week? Hold on, I'm going to that page. Give me a second. He's not high on the list because he's still Will Fuller. He's 6,700. He's more expensive than Adam Thielen.
Yeah, no.
He's more expensive than Tyler Boyd.
No.
I mean, seriously, this is just insane. So, okay, I have 2.
Okay.
I have 2. And this is inspired because the metric has been telling me to use one for like last month. The first one is Darnell Mooney. Chicago has a lot of potential there. They have no quarterback. I am tired of hearing about how good Darnell Mooney's going to be. They're only completing passes to Allen Robinson. That's it.
At times.
Yes, and that's periodic at best. So he is like number 1 on my no. I don't want to hear his name. I don't want to see his face on my list. But the other one I have, there's a guy I was big on in the preseason. Big. Deontay Johnson.
Oh.
For the love of cheese, will Deontay Johnson please figure out if he wants to be an NFL wide receiver? Because he's becoming a modern-day Mike Evans. 18 points, 3 points. 15 points, 13 points, 4, 1, 0, 22. I'm not here to play bingo. I am here to score points and win money. And Deontay Johnson, every time I use him in a lineup, be it season long or DFS, when he decides he's going to have a shit game. So I am done with those two. So you notice it's always wideouts.
Yeah, it is.
I'm never this angry with quarterbacks and running backs. I wonder why that is. But
though you know David Johnson's hurt again, so.
Well, see that brings up, that's going to come up. We might as well discuss this now. I have altered the way the metric works this week actually. This year we added input from additional pro sources that are available on the internet. It's still my ratings, but I take in advice from a number of different places. Yeah. I increased another site into what I read before I go and make my own predictions. And again, I want to be clear on this. I'm not plagiarizing anybody. I'm not stealing anybody's predictions and going,
reference.
Joe Schmo said this guy's going to score 31 points. I'm putting 31 points. No. I have an idea. This quarterback's going to score maybe 22, 23 points. What is everybody else saying? Is how I go with it. Because I'm not a pro at this point. So one of the sites has been kind of on the fringe of me like saying, I don't know if I want to even read their stuff anymore. Today I logged in and they have David Johnson pegged for 10 points. And I'm like, the dude thinks he's Batman. He hasn't been cleared to return to practice yet.
No, he hasn't.
It's Wednesday. He's not practicing. If they don't clear him tomorrow morning, he's out. Now, at the same time, they've got Duke Johnson for 16 points. There is no way the running backs are going to combine for 26 points. Is it Cleveland they're playing? Cleveland is a mid-range running defense. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But there is no way that they're going to platoon those two guys. Number one, if they're going to platoon those two guys, David Johnson's going to have the higher number, not Duke Johnson.
Right.
So that's number one. Number two, there is no reason they're going to platoon here. There's no if they would never platoon. If Johnson's healthy, Johnson's the guy, and he's clearly not healthy. So I finally made the decision today. I was like, that's it. We're done with it. I'm done reading this. I literally closed it in the middle of reading their projections and their rationale. You have people who are injured that are slated to get points, and that's probably because their approach. No. So I simplified what. On the plus side, I saved a lot of time getting the metric done because I only had to read half as much of the stuff that I usually read before I make my projections. But, David Johnson, not shocked he has a concussion, not shocked he's injured. He's had a somewhat decent comeback season. He's been better this year than I think a lot of people expected him to be. I'll give him credit. I have him in a couple season longs because he was a stash and hope, and he's paid off. But, let the guy heal. So, all right, do you have a third question for me?
I do. A fairly quick one.
Sure.
This has to do with one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
Okay.
And this man was actually on the Madden cover.
Okay.
This past season. Current Madden cover. That man is Lamar Jackson.
Not a name you've heard a lot.
Here's the thing about Lamar.
Yeah.
Do you think it's gone to the point with defenses that Lamar isn't that scary to face anymore? Because it seems like they're winning. I mean, they've won. What are they? 6-2. 6-2. So they're winning. They're still good.
They're very good.
But I feel like Lamar's flash from last season is gone because defenses they're able to read what he's going to do now.
Here's what I perceive it to be, and this is just my observation of it. Who was it that knocked him out of the playoffs last year? Was it the Titans?
Yeah.
I think it was the Titans. That game they lost, that first game, exposed something that was then taken advantage of. And that is Lamar Jackson doesn't know how to play from behind. He has it in his head that he has to carry his team. And every drive when they're behind is a crucial drive. When you do that and you think you need to make things happen, then that's when mistakes happen. We've seen that a little bit this year with Patrick Mahomes, too. There's been a couple times where the Chiefs have been down, like this week against Carolina. He made a couple of mistakes, and I was just like, oh, vey, here we go. He feels like he can't. He needs to play from ahead. Lamar Jackson is that amplified, and we saw that with the Titans. So then Baltimore has the offseason. They come back, and they open. Did they open against the Chiefs? I believe they did. Was that game 1 or game 2? The Ravens-Chiefs game. I think it might have been week 1. They come back and they step on the field with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs get ahead. And what does Lamar do? He tries to put the team on his back, he tries to do it all by himself, and boom, they lose. He doesn't know how to play from behind. He puts too much on himself, and he tries to carry the team. He wants every win to be about his performance, and that's not how it works. That's not how it works.
Yeah, because 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's a lot of football time.
Yeah, it is.
So,
unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I think that makes total sense, and I feel like the Ravens' offensive coordinator isn't changing enough to like help him. I don't know. I don't want to say calm down, but help him like control that urge that he has to do everything on every play.
Right.
You know what? Because if it is 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter and they're down by a touchdown, you know what? If they have to punt, then punt.
Yes,
you know?
You have to have faith in the guys around you to get it done, and I don't feel like Lamar has that. That's just my impression. Doesn't have that. We see every time. The last couple of times they've lost, they've gotten behind. They haven't been able to come back. I look at the Chiefs. Like I said, I didn't think that Mahomes played particularly well this past Sunday, but he brought them back. He's got this poise. He really honestly believes it does not make a difference where the ball is on the field. He has faith in the people around him and his coaching staff that every time he takes a ball from under center, they're going to gain yardage. That's what he's got in his head. It's not I have to score a touchdown. I have to move the ball, and
right.
That's that different kind of thought. And when I say I have to move the ball, it's a we have to move the ball. He's not putting that solely on himself. It's not just him who is responsible for this. He's got all the guys around him, and he knows they're going to take responsibility for their jobs. I don't feel like Lamar has that. So, hey, but you know what? You know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for America's favorite game. And that didn't work. There we go. All right, some music on my end. Sorry about that. I'm still figuring out this software. So here we go. Last week, Sean failed to succeed in America's favorite game. So Cinch is still, probably with his minimum exposure, still the best player of all time in America's favorite game. So
he is, percentage-wise.
And Sean had a chance last week to show you up, and he blew it.
He did not.
Nope, he failed to
Lucky
finish.
For me. I think I've only won like once or twice this year, maybe.
Have you even won this year?
I think I did once. I think I cleared the board.
Probably week 1 or 2.
Early on.
It was early. Okay, well I got 5 games. I got 5 games with an over of 50, at least 50 here in week 10. Is this week 10? I think it's week 10.
Yes. Scary, right?
Time is meaningless. So, all right. Tell me one of the 5 games that has at least an over-under of 50 points and therefore worthy of fantasy football attention.
Ooh. All right. Let's go with Thursday's game of Colts-Titans.
Colts at Titans. That is... Oh, sound effect fail again. There we go. There's the buzzer. That's incorrect. 48 and a half. That's strike one. Strike one. I have to remember when I fade these out manually, I have to fade the volume back in. Because I'm hitting the button and nothing's coming out. I'm learning, guys. This is Craig's department, and I'm learning. So, all right,
man. It's okay.
So you got strike one. What else you got for me?
Strike one. Let's go. Let's go Bucks Panthers.
Bucks Panthers. Got to find you on my list. Where are you?
They're Sunday at 1.
Oh, there they are. And you know what? That is absolutely correct. That's a 50 and a half. That one just sneaks in there. So that's the first one. You got one right. You got 2 strikes remaining and 4 answers on the board.
All right. Let's go Bills Cardinals.
Bills Cardinals. That is correct. 56 and a half. That's is the top line of the week. These teams are a combined 12 and 5. And Kyler Murray is just so exciting to watch. I feel like they're a year away from being really freaking good, like really good.
I think they are.
So, all right. So there's 2 correct. What do you got for me? 3 left. 3 left.
Let's go. Let's go Seahawks Rams.
Seahawks Rams, and I've got to give you a pass on that one. That one I do not have a line on. The line was withdrawn, so that's a pass.
All right.
I didn't even notice that before we started recording. Otherwise, I would have warned you.
Okay.
Oh, fair disclosure, Washington Lions is also without a line.
Okay. Let's go San Fran Saints.
San Francisco and the Saints. Incorrect. That is a 49. 49, and that is strike 2. He's got one more. He's got, 3 answers left on the board?
Yep.
Come on, Craig.
Man, I don't want to pick this game, but I think it will be because it's just, I don't know.
I'm looking
Texans,
at it.
Browns.
That is exactly what I thought you were going to say. That is correct. That is a 51. Yeah, these teams are a combined 7 and 9, and neither one has a defense. So there's your answer, really. The only thing they can do is stop the run. And that's a coin flip sometimes. So who knows? And they both have really good running games. So I think this is going to end up being a high scoring affair. All right, so you got the Texans Browns game, right? You got Bucks Panthers, and you got Bills Cardinals. Yep. There's 2 answers left on the board. You have 1 strike left.
All right, let's go with my personal game of the week, the Bengals Steelers.
Bengals versus Steelers is a 45 and a half. That is incorrect, and that is game over for poor Craig. Oh, sorry. Okay, so the ones you missed.
Yeah.
Jaguars Packers is a 51. Don't ask me why. I can't explain that. And Broncos Raiders is a 51. That's a game with no defense. That's the honest to God answer there. That's a game with no defense. Raiders Broncos.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That's it. And the Raiders need that game because they need to keep pace with the Chiefs while the Chiefs are off, and that would bring them to 6-3. And the Chiefs are, I believe, 7-2. So yeah. So there you go. Craig unfortunately does not win America's favorite game tonight.
Damn it.
Sorry,
I blame
dude.
Cinch.
Yeah, you can blame Cinch if you want for that. So, all right, let's transition over into the metric. How was your week 9 DFS while you were off?
So I broke my rule again, like I did the week before. Yep. You know what? You're like, yeah, I'm drinking a beer, I'm watching football. It's the second quarter of the 1:00 games. Let me open a
4:00 lineup.
Yeah. And then, let me see how I'm doing on these games. And holy crap, I'm making 4 times as much as what I put in.
Nope.
And you're like, wow, that looks good. Let me not look at this for the rest of the day. And then you open it up at like 8:00 at night. You're like, hey, I broke even. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've had I lately have been if I'm not winning by halftime of the 1:00 game, I'm not winning that week. I'm just that's just the way my luck has gone.
This past week was the kind of week where you make 3 lineups.
Yeah.
And if you used the first one you made in everything, you would have cashed everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, that was this week.
Yeah. No, I made the mistake of listening to people, some experts who told me I should use Darnell Mooney. Again, that's why part of the reason I'm dead with him. Somebody told me, was it Jordan Wilkins? Like, if anyone's going to break out in this game, it's going to be Jordan Wilkins. I'm like, that is a huge value play. I could use Jordan Wilkins. Yeah, he had like 3 points. He made like
how did Lockett do?
Oh, okay, so that was the other thing. So I heard an expert. Again, all these people will remain nameless because I don't want to blow people up, but I want people to be aware. Yeah. You don't trust everything you hear from the people who call themselves experts. You shouldn't trust everything we tell you. You should take the information you get, and you should then apply it to what you work on and come out to your own conclusion. So if I sit here and say Craig is going to have the greatest game of his life, you should not just automatically run and put Craig in the lineup. You should stop and look at the situation. Am I reading it the proper way? And if you agree and you see potential there, then use them. But always go with your own judgment. We are not here to replace your judgment. We are here to give you ideas for you to make your own judgment on.
Exactly.
So I'm listening to Sirius XM Radio last Sunday, and I hear an analyst read off the slot receiver performance. Who did Seattle play last week? I'm drawing a blank.
The Bills.
The Bills. Against the Bills. And he's going week by week, and he's reading the guy who played in the slot the week they played the Raiders was Hunter Renfrow. Here's what he did. The week they played the Chiefs don't use a slot receiver because of the way their offense works, so we're not going to count the Chiefs. And he just went team by team. Every single person he read had a minimum of 80 yards, and most of them had a touchdown or 2. So he's like, Tyler Lockett is playing out of the slot. This is a Tyler Lockett game. Tyler Lockett. Fade DK Metcalf. So I said to myself, that's kind of interesting because Lockett's now cheaper than Metcalf. I wonder if maybe I should use Lockett. So I did. I went into lineups that I had already established, and I took out DK Metcalf, and I put in Tyler Lockett. DK Metcalf had another big game. Tyler Lockett did not. Tyler Lockett stunk up the joint. I think he got like 5 points, and Metcalf walked away with like 16 or 17. Neither one of them, I mean, it's not like Metcalf was so expensive he didn't make the 3X. Yeah. But those 12 points would have put me over the pay line. And the extra,
and that's all that matters.
And the $200 I saved by switching from Metcalf to Lockett, I didn't end up reinvesting anywhere else. So it was $200 sitting on my salary bench. I could have done it. And I was very annoyed with myself. So just a reminder.
Yeah, don't. You know what? Unless there's an injury, I think you just have to. And I do this myself. I change lineups, but you just have to go with your gut unless there's like an injury or something like that. But yeah.
Take it. There's an old Walt Whitman quote, which I'm going to absolutely butcher here, which is absorb knowledge from everywhere and disregard what offends the soul. It's along that line. Do that in fantasy football. Take in information and discard what offends the soul. If my information doesn't sound good to you, don't use it. Don't use it.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to use Will Fuller, go ahead.
Go ahead and use Will Fuller. You've been warned. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe Will Fuller doesn't hit his head coming out of the tunnel and think he's Batman and plays a full game. We don't like Will Fuller because he never stays healthy. He's actually been relatively healthy this year compared to last year's. But no, I mean there's those guys that you're just like, no, I'm not gonna use them. David Johnson historically has been one of those guys for us. This year I've kind of softened down a little bit because he's done a little bit better. But historically we've been down on David Johnson. This year we were way down on Zeke. Way down on Zeke.
Look what happened.
I mean, I even looked lately. Where is he ranked in like?
Oh man, I would have to look that up.
I'll pull it up while we're talking. But hold on a second. I got to turn away from the mic to take the keyboard.
Uh-oh.
I've got a fancy, got a rather elaborate setup going on this end now. I've got 2 computers, the monocaster. It's kind of crazy. All right, let me see. I need to see fantasy stats though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So again, guys, just keep that in mind. Always at the end of the day, follow your gut. Don't
exactly
listen to the information. Make decisions for yourselves.
Because here's the other thing too. Those sites that you have to pay for, like a lot of money every season.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that they're telling you to use people that they're not probably going to use.
I think sometimes that can be true.
Sometimes, I mean, if you're getting advice from the guys that play in like, the $500 a game tournament.
Yeah. Like
those guys are probably going to tell you somebody they might use, but they're not going to.
Probably. Those are guys who play so many different lineups. Those are guys who put 20 lineups into the average tournament. So when they sit there and go, I'm going to use them once or twice. Okay, that's still that's less than 10% of their lineups.
Right.
Just remember that. If somebody says, I'll put him into a lineup and see what happens, there's a likelihood that is less than a 5% usage right there on that person's part.
One lineup out of 20 in a tournament with 200,000 people.
Right. Now, Zeke, okay, so I'm looking at the CBS. I'm looking at our league in CBS. Zeke is ranked number 5. But
that's impressive.
This is his off week, so people are going to catch him and pass him. He's had a total of 138. He's averaging 15.33 fantasy points per game. Now, we have an aggressive system. Running backs get a lot of love in our system. But, just for example, guys who are ranked below him but have a better, if I do it by, can I sort here by average score? Let me see if I can get by average. Let me see.
There's a game, or game log, maybe.
No, but I can rescore. I can reset the entire league to show me only by average points per game. He plummets.
Oh, okay.
He plummets that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
12,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's 12th.
Wow, that was a guess.
He's 12th. Raheem Mostert has a better fantasy points per game than he does. Joe Mixon, who had a very slow start, has a better. James Robinson, who, God bless the guy, I didn't see him coming, has a better game than he does. Christian McCaffrey is averaging better, and he missed games. The only reason, that's the reason you got to go by the average performance, is because if you don't play in a game, like Christian McCaffrey is having a better year, but he's been hurt. So, if you're going just by straight points, he's behind, or he's right ahead of Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley's in the 6
Oh,
hole.
wow.
Todd Gurley's got 134 fantasy points this year. That's more than Clyde Edward-Helaire. That's more than CEH. He's got 129 points. So, but they're both on bye this week. They're going to get passed.
That.
So Aaron Jones has 123 fantasy points so far this year. If he scores more than 15 points, he passes Zeke. James Conner needs 16 points to pass Zeke. Josh Jacobs, 17 points. All these guys...
Well, that's very doable.
all these guys are very doable. Mike Davis is a little further down. He's about 22 points, and he might get points this week because I don't know what Christian McCaffrey's status is right now. But, so just, again, keep those things in mind. We're guides. We are not end-all, be-all. So, all right, let's talk about the metric. Let's talk.
All right.
All right, so like I said, I simplified the metric this week. I had not been happy with its performance. When I looked at the guys I was missing on because I was listening to a source that I don't think takes injuries into account properly. So I've ditched that, and I've gone back to the way I used to do things and just reading 1 or 2 sites. I went from 3 sites to read down to 2, and then I made my projections, and I was happy with my projections. Now, keep in mind, I don't look at salaries until I put projections in. So that's why the metric is important, is because the metric tells me, well, based on the number you're putting in here, that tells me who value is. So unfortunately, that's usually where I have arguments with the metric. And the metric this week says there are 3 quarterbacks that it really likes that are all under 6,000. It really likes Daniel Jones because he's only 5,200. It really
Cinch
likes...
just made a face.
Yep. Cinch hates Daniel Jones. Hates him. Derek Carr, because he's only 5,400, and Carson Wentz because he's only 5,900. I mean, think about that. Carson Wentz gets 18 points. He's at value. So yeah, you're going to give up the Kyler Murrays of the world who are going to go out there and score you 25, 30 points. You're going to pass on that. You're going to pass on Josh Allen, but that's going to allow you to use somebody bigger. So I have Josh Allen pegged for 24 points. I've got Carson Wentz for around 20, but there's a huge difference in their salaries. You're telling me I can't make up 4 points with a $1,600 between their 2 salaries somewhere else? I think I can.
You would assume you could.
I think I can. $1,600 could be the difference between. Hold on, I'm going to it. I'm gonna $1,600. So Dalvin Cook is 8,900. Let me find somebody who's around 7,300. The difference between Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones, or Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry. I'm sorry, I have Derrick Henry for 5 points fewer than Dalvin Cook. So by giving up 3 points at quarterback and going with Carson Wentz instead of Josh Allen, I can make up 5 points at running back. I can live with that. I can live with that, or I can save somewhere else too. So there's my take on that. All right, so quarterbacks. So I've the 3 that the metric really likes this week are all super cheap. That Denver Vegas game is one of the games that has a high over-under. The Giant Philly game really doesn't, but both those teams are miserable. I'm also going to look up really quickly while you're giving me your take. I want to see what Daniel Jones' numbers are actually like this year. So who do you like at quarterback this week?
So this week, because they're playing in Vegas, I do like Derek Carr versus Denver. If they were playing in Denver, not so much. Yeah. Carson Wentz, like you said, is cheap. He's playing the Giants. I still just feel like the Eagles, the NFC East is a mess.
Oh, it's terrible.
Like this game could be like 27 of 24, or it could be like 9-6.
Yep.
Like it's just bad.
All right, so
if I had to pay up for somebody, I think NL Cinch isn't gonna like this either.
Right.
I do like Jared Goff this week against Seattle.
Okay.
Because again, Seattle's defense is not super. So, and that is one of the higher scoring games this week.
I see.
It's like right below the 50.
I have Goff at 20 points, so to me, he's the same as Carson Wentz. The only difference is he's $600 more expensive. But that's just me. I think that's going to be a ground game. So one of the things I really considered, I knew there was something that clicked in my brain when I came up with that number. So Daniel Jones has been exceptionally average / underwhelming. Let's go backwards his last 5 games. Ready? Fantasy points according to CBS. Yeah. 14, 18, 22, 14, 11. There's that 22 sitting there. You know who that 22 was against? Philadelphia.
Who? Of course.
He put up 22 points against Philadelphia. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 187 yards passing. He had rushing yards too. He rushed for 92 yards that game. Rushed for
No,
90
that's right.
yards.
Wait, was that the game he fell over? No.
Probably. That was October 22nd. I'm looking at the game log right now. So there
When
you
he
go.
when he almost scored a touchdown and fell.
I think probably, yeah, that sounds about right. He did not have a rushing touchdown. So I think there is a little bit of it's a risk. But if I can take that risk, I probably will. And this is gonna again make sense cringe. I'm probably gonna use Daniel Jones in a couple places this week. It's probably gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So, all right. So there's no. I mean, in terms of like staring you in the face value, there's not really a ton. I've got 15 quarterbacks slated for 3x, included Jared Goff. So there's really, unless you use somebody like really reach or you really want to go super chalk like Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson, I don't think are going to get you to 3x this week. Aaron Rodgers might, depending on how competitive Jacksonville is, and that is a high over under. But I don't think Jacksonville's going to be as competitive. I think it's going to be one sided, and you're going to see a lot of running in that game. So, all right,
Yeah,
running back.
especially if they go up. If if Green Bay goes up by a lot.
Yeah, if that game is 28-7 at halftime, forget it. They're going to run the ball down their throats. Just going to run the ball, and they may not. And Aaron Jones probably will sit out the fourth quarter. It'll be Jamal Williams. So, all right. So running backs. So going along the same line of apparently there is a major Philly bias. The metric loves, and well, I shouldn't say loves. The metric says the highest value on the board is Wayne Gallman because he's only 4,500. I am going to pass on Wayne Gallman. It then says, well, what about Miles Sanders at 6,400? I might think about Miles Sanders, but he's been banged up a little bit. It just makes me a little nervous. The third name down, though, intrigues me, and that's Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson, Washington at Detroit. I don't have the Detroit defensive numbers in front of me right now, but Detroit has not been good defensively. Antonio Gibson at 5,600 is a really nice play and allows me to save enough money to maybe pair a Dalvin Cook. So if I can use Antonio Gibson and a Daniel Jones and it allows me to afford Dalvin Cook and maybe like, I don't know, I'm just looking at the board right now, maybe like an Aaron Jones or a James Conner, I'll take it. So who do you like this week at running back?
This week I do like Antonio Gibson because he's cheap. He's not Dwayne Gallman Jr. cheap.
He's $1,100 more. Yes.
Yeah. DeAndre Swift, he's shown a lot of flashes of what he can be and why they drafted him.
Right.
And he is playing Washington, so he is 5,100, so you can take a chance on him.
But you know what? If I'm going to take a chance that low, I'm probably looking at Duke Johnson because he's only 5,000. I think Duke Johnson is going to outpoint DeAndre Swift this week. I do. Unless David Johnson miraculously gets out of the concussion protocol tomorrow, I think Duke Johnson's going to end up starting, and I think Cleveland is going to struggle against him. And it just in general, I think that's going to end up being a shootout game, that Houston-Cleveland game. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be a game where Duke Johnson's going to shine. So if I have to choose between DeAndre Swift and Duke Johnson, I'm going to take Duke Johnson. But yes, if I'm wrong, I'm not shocked. If you said to me, well, DeAndre Swift is going to outscore him by like 10 points, I wouldn't be shocked because he has shown flashes.
Yeah, he has.
Really has.
And I think the second half of the year, if Baltimore's offensive coordinator tries to help Lamar, I think they're going to hand the ball to J.K. Dobbins more.
Yeah.
So I feel like the next few weeks, J.K. Dobbins' salary is going to skyrocket compared to what it is now.
He's 5,200 right now. There's just a lot of mouths to feed in that backfield. And like I said, I don't feel like Lamar has as much trust in the guys around him as other people think he does. So that's why I'm kind of shying away from him. You want to talk about the overinflated guy of the week? Chase Edmonds is 6,300.
Really?
Stay away from Chase Edmonds. First off, Kenyon Drake hasn't been ruled out yet. He hasn't practiced, but he also hasn't been ruled out. He could hit the practice field tomorrow, which would be Thursday, which is right around the time you're hearing this, and be the starter on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, and it's a 4:00 start. I mean, anything could happen. If he practices at all tomorrow, there's a chance he plays. Chase Edmonds at 6,300 is way too high. You know who I like as a sneaky play, and it's not sneaky ownership-wise. It's sneaky in that he's cheap, and I don't think anybody's paying attention to it, is Zach Moss at 5,200.
Yeah.
If Arizona is as porous as they were last week, who did Arizona play last week and got their butts handed to them defensively? Was it Seattle?
I got to go back and look again.
Why can't I remember what happened 7 days ago? It's like not even 7 days. I mean, this is bad, man. Getting old is rough. And now my computer's not going to respond. So, all right, screw it. But they were terrible last week defensively. Terrible. That's why they lost. It's honest to God why they lost. So, hold on. You know what? I can pull up Kyler Murray's.
Oh, they played the Dolphins.
They played the Dolphins, and Myles Gaskin was hurt, right?
Yes, I would think so.
So who was the running back down there when Gaskins is dead?
Balaj? No.
It was Kalen Balaj, I think, because his salary was way up. Oops, I just bumped the mic. It might have been Kalen. I'm looking up Kalen Balaj's numbers right now. Yep, there it is. Oh, when did I pick up Kalen Balaj in our league?
Last week.
Apparently I picked him up. He must have had a good week because I picked him up. Game log. It's coming up. No, last week they played Vegas. Miami played Vegas last week.
Oh, my computer's stupid.
Your
Show me the wrong schedule.
Is operating in the past. Hold on, I'm just gonna go straight to Kyler Murray's page and see who they played. Because I'm just blanking on it. I just remember looking at it and go, my God, no, it was not. It was Week 9 Miami. Kalen Balaj isn't in Miami anymore. God,
that's right.
All right, yeah.
You know what? This year this year is so stupid that it doesn't matter.
That's exactly it. I'm pulling it up now and I apologize, guys. I am really not feeling great, but I was like, I am not missing an episode tonight. I'm not. There it is. They played. Right, there's the game. Give me the box score. Rushing. Okay, it really wasn't. No, there wasn't a strong rushing game. It really wasn't. It was all Tua. I hadn't looked at this box score yet. Someone named Salvan Ahmed led them in rushing. Jordan Howard, 10 carries, 19 yards. He can't even get 2 yards a carry anymore. My God. All right. How did Miami score 34 points? They had nobody over 100 yards at all, except for Tua, and that doesn't count. Tua only had 248 for 2. Their defense go nuts. Kyler threw no picks.
Yeah.
Kick returns, punt returns. I don't see any major turnovers. Anyway, all right, let's move on. But yeah, so what was my point here? I am just so tired. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. We were looking at the metric. I was talking about Chase Edmonds. Okay, yeah, Chase Edmonds is inflated. Yeah, there's no question. All right, moving on. Let's talk about some wide receivers. And I'll issue all apologies later. So, I talked about saving money this week, right? Well, here's one of the places I might want to spend up. Because even though Davante Adams is $9,000, we have learned that he is the only person that Aaron Rodgers will throw to. They will put an entire nickel package on Davante Adams, and he will still try to find a way to get him the ball. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is standing on the other side with a bowl of popcorn. Waving with his free hand, and Aaron Rodgers will still try to throw to Davante Adams. And it's funny, I did catch a few minutes of that game last week, and I saw Scantling make a nice catch, and then like 4 plays later, he was wide open, and the ball hit him in the hands, and he turned upfield too quickly, and he dropped it. And they centered it on Aaron Rodgers, and the death look made me feel sick. Aaron Rodgers shot him a death look like, that's why you don't get the ball more. And had no problem making sure everyone saw it. It wasn't like a passing kind of like, oh man, and turned away. It was a good solid 3-second stare down. So Davante Adams, even though he's expensive, is very highly usable. Anthony Miller's been getting some targets. Jacoby Myers is high on my list. I'm definitely looking at Davante Adams. I might go Anthony Miller. I mean, if I would not mind spending down so I can spend up here. Allen Robinson has just been reliable. They have no quarterback there, and he's still scoring fantasy points. So if I have to save up so I can use Adams and Robinson, it's not a bad trade-off. Like I said, Jacoby Myers is high on my list. Funny story really quick. Monday night, I was having a drink and a snack with our contributor friend Sean and discussing podcast plans. And I said to him, did you put in a challenge lineup? Because we do a Monday night challenge here with our broadcasters. And he was like, no, man, no. And he looks at the New England, New Jersey, or New Jersey, New York Jets rosters. He's like, man, this is bad. He goes, I don't even know who to put in the captain spot. Jacoby Myers? I'm like, you can't captain Jacoby Myers. What's wrong with you? Jacoby Myers had a good game. He had like 6 catches for 89 or something like that. And I'm like, son of a bitch. Every time. He always sees that one guy. So
It's okay. I won that anyway.
You did. I think he still finished 4th because his lineup was that bad. I captained Cam just to finish 3rd. So, all right. So who do you like? I'm going to pay up at wideout this week, I think. I'm probably going to pay up.
I think you have to. I think you have to go with Devontae Adams playing Jacksonville. There's no reason why he shouldn't score 27 to 37 points against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I've got him slated for 28 points at 9K. At 9K, that's still bonus. The only reason I might not use him if the ownership is super high. Like, that doesn't really matter too much in cash games, but if your ownership is high on a guy, you're just not going to make up points if you're behind. And that's why I think I've been losing so much, is because other people get ahead, and I look up, and the one guy I've got left, he's in 75% of lineups. I'm like, I'm not catching up now. So
yeah, exactly.
So pay up at wideout is my advice this week. Pay up at wideout. Don't be afraid to spend money.
Exactly. The rest, I mean, Devontae Parker's 5,000, but I don't know how his relationship with 2 is going. So maybe
he was the leading receiver with 68 yards last week, and I only know that because I just had it on the screen. Is he a safer play? He's a safer play than Deontay Johnson at 5,200, but I don't think he's as good of a play as Curtis Samuel at 4,900. Curtis Samuel's starting to get looks. I know Robbie Anderson is the main attraction there, but he's starting to get looks.
I can't believe Terry McLaurin is up to 6,800.
Because it's him and Gibson. It's it.
That's it. They are their offense.
And Alex Smith throws the kind of passes that Terry McLaurin catches. 12 yards downfield across the middle.
And Fulgrim's up to 64 already, and he's only been playing for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. So, all right, we got to move on. I'm dragging us today. Tight end. My tight end list is really short this week because no one is really in great shape. TJ Hawkinson is probably the guy I'm going to use the most share of, because even though he's 5,100, which I think puts him like number 2 or 3 on the price list, he's high. I mean, you could also use Logan Thomas a little bit, but I'm probably going to focus on Hawkinson. I've got him slated for 13 points. I have no clear value play at tight end this week. None. Because they're just, all of them are so close to their salary numbers. They're all at around 2x. Is there anybody at tight end that sticks out to you?
I mean, maybe just because of the games they're in, like Evan Ingram, he's 4,500 playing Philly, and then Hunter Henry is 4,100 against Miami. And I know Miami had a big defensive game last week, but I'm still iffy on Miami in general. So
as well, you should be. So, all right, just defenses. There's no value play at defense. All of the guys
just pick one.
All of the guys who are playing all the bad defenses are playing other bad defenses with decent offenses. Philly at the Giants, I can't touch either one of those guys. San Francisco, New Orleans, can't touch them. Denver, Las Vegas, can't touch them. Jacksonville, Green Bay, can't touch them. Buffalo, Arizona, can't touch them. Tampa Bay, Carolina, maybe, but I got to pay up for the Bucks, and I'm not really interested in doing that. Cincy, Pittsburgh, can't touch it. Baltimore, New England, no. I can use the Baltimore defense, but it's 3,900, and I'm not going to have that much money at this point. I need a defense under 3K. The Rams at 2,200? No.
I think you'd have to go. I would guess at least the Saints, maybe.
That's your best bet. I mean, San Francisco's
really
banged
is.
up, but they're 3,000. Again, I'm trying. I got to save money here. Where the hell is the 49ers? No, that's New Orleans. That's not who I'm looking for. Who am I looking for? I'm looking for the Texans. Where's the Texans?
They're playing the Browns.
Exactly.
They are 2,400.
2,400. Freaking Baker Mayfield.
It's still a little pricey.
It's so pricey for somebody who's going up against Baker Mayfield. Either goes out there and throws 3 picks or 3 touchdowns. One is going to save me. One's going to kill me. I don't know which one is going to be which. I can't use the Cardinals again. Buffalo is going to shred the Cardinals. I can't use the Chargers. We don't know what to make of Tua yet. I can't use the Miami defense because it's the Chargers. That's an intriguing game, by the way. 10-second side note before we get to final. Chargers at Miami should be absolutely billed as the meeting of the 2 best quarterbacks to come out this year, shouldn't it?
I don't know, because Joe Burrow's not playing.
Oh, that's right, Joe Burrow. You know
Two
what?
of the three top quarterbacks.
You know what it
that
is?
came out of the draft.
Burrow has played so well the last 2 or 3 weeks. I can't help but feel if Joe Burrow had a full preseason, he'd be looking really solid right now. Like really solid.
Because other quick side note, like, so the Bengals actually traded a player, right?
Yeah.
If you look at their numbers, like Joe Burrow is doing insane things for a rookie quarterback with no preseason.
Yeah.
And they just signed
What's his name?
that was mad in Atlanta.
Tack something. I just remember because his first name sounds like he's from Star Wars.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But like, I in our podcaster group, I'm like, being a lifelong Bengals fan, like, I don't know what's happening.
Tack McKinley, that's it.
Yes, that's him.
Tack
like,
McKinley.
For me, like, I have no idea what's going on.
No clue.
Like, the Bengals are rated offensively really freaking high if you don't look at their record,
right?
But just look at their offensive stats. It's ridiculous. And I don't know how to comprehend it.
Craig doesn't know how to feel.
I don't. I really don't.
All right, the lowest over-under of the week, I'm just looking really quick to try and pick a defense, appears to be Patriots-Ravens at 43.5. So Baltimore might be my go-to. So, all right, we're out of time. Let's go to final thoughts. What do you got for me this week?
Final thoughts, I'm going to say hi, Deb.
Yes, hi, Deb.
Because I wasn't here last week. And I'm just going to repeat what we said before, and I say this all the time, and I still know I go against it sometimes, is just go at your first instinct unless someone gets hurt or found out they got COVID and they can't play. Leave your lineup alone.
Don't try to outthink yourself if you're already good at this. And if you're not already good at this, listen to everybody you can and decide who you want to listen to. It's funny, Cinch has recently started playing a little bit more DFS. And he'll look at the metric and he'll listen to our podcast. And if we recommend 9 guys, he might use 1 or 2 of them. Might. And he's winning. He's winning because he's not overthinking it. He's like, I can't use that guy. And he uses somebody else. And he's like, oh, really? I could use that guy, huh? Okay. It's working. It's working. All right, my final thought is just we are now more than a week past the election. I have had already this week 2 really bad interactions on social media. Craig will tell you that he begs me to just burn all of my devices.
I do.
On a regular basis because social media has become just a sludge fest of all sorts of badness. I've had 2 interactions in the last week where it's just gone really south because there are people who aren't happy with the outcome of the election. Just remember, guys, be nice to each other and don't post bullshit. Just be smart about what you're writing. The fight today started because some guy told me the problem with Democrats is that they post all these insults instead of facts. And I'm like, dude, you told me to go suck a dick a week ago. Like, your words. I never said that. Here's a clip of the screenshot. And so what does he think? What's that?
No, say people think things on the internet just go
away.
Poof.
One does not simply remove something from the internet. And it's not like he deleted it. I just went back to the post and went, here's a screenshot. And then his response was, I can't remember what he told me to go do to myself, but it was definitely not polite. But I'm like, and I said to him, I was like, your entire point of this post is that people are too rude on social media. And I was like, oh my God, be nice to each other, people. Be nice. The only people you don't have to be nice to, well, we can't even say that anymore. I used to be able to say you don't have to be nice to Philadelphia Eagle fans, but if you're pleased with the outcome of the election, you have to be pleased with Philadelphia right now. You have to forgive them for throwing things at Santa.
Something nice.
That's yes. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I'm going to put on a Santa suit and I'm going to go to Philadelphia and I'm going to let people throw things at me. That's the least I can do to say thank you for actually handling this election with a little dignity and class. But guys, just remember, it doesn't make a difference where you are politically. If you're in the United States, at the end of the day, we're all trying to live the best life we can. And if my candidate is better than yours or vice versa, as long as the guy's not going to get us all killed, be nice to each other. That's my advice this week. My final thought is just, God damn it, be nice to each other, you dumbasses. There. And leave us a review. We haven't had a review in like weeks. I'm a little disappointed. I mean, we had a nice stream of them. We had the guy who, it's been over a year since the guy who just left the one word of ew. Leave us a review wherever you listen to us. Apple Podcasts. I think we're still on Spotify. but Spotify is making changes to the way it does podcasts. We may not be on there very long.
Yeah, that's a whole other.
That's
topic
outside of our
jerks.
control. That's outside of our control. If Spotify wants to drive a dump truck full of money up to my door and pay us to do this specifically on Spotify, we will do it. But they have not made that move. So
Still waiting.
yeah, we're still waiting. Pick up the phone, Spotify. Pick up the phone. But yeah, wherever you listen to us, please leave us a review. Please reach out to us. I am checking the Twitter page again now that the election is over, but I'm not living on Twitter. Trust me. We are at Fignuts DFS on Twitter. We are reachable via email at fignuts@gmail.com. Reach out to us with your questions, comments, feedback. We're always looking to hear it. So that's about it. We will be back next week. We are halfway through the season, folks. Week 10 is really the halfway point of the season because if you think about the playoffs in terms of DFS, we are about halfway through after this week. So it's been a long slog. It's already been a long slog. I'm already tired. So, all right, until then, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fig Nuts Podcast.